Hi, we're Low Budget Entertainment. My name's Hunter. Today we spent our last $5 at Taco Bell, and as we drove up to the drive-thru window, the cashier asked me, "Would you like any hot sauce?" I replied, "No, baby. The only hot thing around here is you." Then I slapped her on the ass and drove away.
Hey Hunter, can we talk backstage, please?
Yeah, no problem.
Damn.
Hi, I'm Andrew, and we're Low Budget Entertainment. Today, we're going to talk about the newest movie that came out. It's a pretty big event for people. The Boss Baby, directed, I don't know, did anyone make that? Did anyone see that movie? No, I'm just kidding. Today, we're going to actually talk about Logan. This latest installment of the X-Men franchise feels like it stands on its own, as it follows an older and damaged Wolverine as he cares for a sickly Charles Xavier in the not-too-distant future. After coming into contact with a young mutant girl, Logan must escort both the girl and Charles to a safe place while dodging those that want them dead, as well as dodging his own inner demons. Logan is directed by James Mangold, famous for Walk the Line, 3:10 to Yuma, and The Wolverine. So we had a good time watching Logan, didn't we?
Yeah.
Hunter, you've seen it. Oh, I thought I killed you.
No, not today.
Oh, you've seen it twice, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually going to see it the second time tomorrow.
Yeah.
So let's first talk about the story. This felt very disconnected from all the rest of the X-Men movies, but also felt very connected.
Yeah. I think it felt more connected.
That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't have to.
Okay, let's talk about some plot points. What did you think about how he's old man Logan?
I didn't really think about it.
No,
I
thought Hugh Jackman looked really old.
He did.
He
but
was better than what he looked like as Logan, as a younger Logan.
What?
Yeah,
Okay.
he seemed cooler.
Oh well, have you seen him like doing his training and like ADR recordings?
Yeah, where he
looks
didn't even
so
have a
young.
beard.
Yeah.
He's just got.
But I was very Logan. Have you ever seen any of the X-Men movies?
No, I'm not. I'm thrown in here as the I don't really see movies at all, so I'm like, it's a different perspective.
Yeah,
you know,
because we got
because not only have I not seen the X-Men movies, I don't watch many movies at all, so it's kind of like
Hunter's.
I'm the casual here.
Right, Hunter's kind of like the obsessive X-Men guy. Well, the movies at least, and then me and Alex know a lot about like the comics, but as much as we can without reading the comics. But and Logan has never seen any of them, so it's kind of we have a wide range of here.
Good
But
mix.
Yeah, all I knew is that I knew that Logan is Wolverine's name. He's
Yep.
part of the X-Men.
Yes.
And they're mutants. That's it.
So did you feel like you were missing anything from just watching this movie, or did you feel like you understood it?
Not really. I don't want to say I missed anything. There's the part where they were showing like all the different mutant powers. I was assuming that they were like the other ones that weren't in the movie, and that was like
when
source
the
content.
little kids had it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's the Ice Girl who's like
Yeah.
Iceman,
I
and
thought it was a guy. Wasn't it? Wasn't it just
No,
a man?
No, it was the
Oh,
girl.
was
No,
it?
there was
Yeah.
a little girl.
There was a boy that had
And
the
then-
fire powers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
was like Pyro or Sunfire or whatever his name is.
Really? Was he supposed to be him?
He wasn't him, but
was
he
just
was
like
his powers. And then like the leader of them, I can't remember his name,
Oh shoot!
like Rocco or something. That's from something else. There's like a kid. He was like the leader of the kids. He was actually a character in the comics.
I did not know.
But
that.
so let's try to go through it without spoilers. From the beginning, we start off with Logan as a cab driver, getting in his car is getting like mugged, like literally the car is getting taken, parts of it.
Well, he's sleeping in the bunk.
Yeah,
Right.
and it starts off with the hard R. The first words in the movie are "What the fuck," and I was like, well, there's 5-year-olds running around because parents are really bad, but I didn't care. I watched Rambo in 4th grade, but
Good for you.
yeah, but I what did you guys think of when his claw didn't open up? He had erectile claw dysfunction.
The thing that I noticed was that. Okay. The thing I noticed was in the trailer there was a part where he's like bleeding from his claws, and I was like, I wonder if this tied to it, and then it did.
See, when he pulls it out and it was bleeding,
cool.
I really liked that. It looked real. It didn't look like CGI.
Like
X-Men Origins Wolverine. Where he's like, and sparks are coming out. But in the trailer, I didn't know that's what it was. I thought he was like cleaning it, cleaning the blood off of it. I didn't like look close enough. But I thought it was really cool because like in the first X-Men, when he meets Rogue, she's like, "Does it hurt when they come out?" He's like, "Yeah, every time." But then like in the rest of them, he's just like. Sing, and so this one, you really felt that, like, I'm sure even for someone that's never watched him, you felt that Logan, what did you think about Logan being...
I thought that, like, I'd say, like, the whole, like, first half hour, maybe, that was a good way to set the tone, because it was, like, it was very clear that, he wasn't putting up with this shit anymore.
Right, he wasn't.
He's just done.
Right, and Logan Wolverine has always been like he's like the grumpy superhero, and this he was like, I'm just a grumpy mother effer. I don't care about superheroing, and I don't care about. I mean, he was like an alcoholic pretty much. He was just getting drunk in the back of the limo when people weren't showing their tits. He was drinking. So, but that's another thing when they rob him, he gets out and he's like, "You don't want me to do this," and it's like he doesn't even want to do it. He's just trying to like he's just trying to get these. I don't know, were they like teenagers or something? These robbers to leave.
They were like 30.
Were they? Yeah, they were.
I can't remember exactly, but like you could tell, there's a line later on when he says something like, "Even killing the bad guys wasn't easy because it takes a toll on you eventually," and he's to the point where because all the X-Men are gone, and we'll talk about that when we get to the spoilers. But he's just like, I don't want to kill people anymore. I just want to drive my taxi or my cab. What the hell is it called? A limo. Thanks for helping me out, guys. But he wants to drive. I want to drive my limo and take Chuck Xavier out in a boat. Yeah. I want to go sun surfing.
Sun catching?
Sun catching.
Sunseeker.
Sun seeking. Catching, surfing.
Sunseeker yachts. Yeah. Sunseeker yachts.
But
that's it. He's a simple guy.
And then let's talk about someone. I've seen other reviews online, and I don't think many of us have really talked about it, but Caliban.
Yeah.
I really liked him. He's never been in another... I mean, he was
in Apocalypse.
But he was a different actor, and he was like I've never seen Apocalypse. Heard of him. And I'd never heard of Caliban. I mean, I've heard of the name, but I didn't know who he was. I always thought he was kind of a bad guy. I don't know if he is in the comics or not. But I really liked his character. I thought he was kind of... When I saw him in the trailer, he had like the big hat. It was the scenes when he's out in the sun. I'm like, this guy's gonna be like a bad guy or something. He looks like the guys from Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, the whole to me the movie felt like Mad Max.
Yeah, that's one thing we can talk about in a second. But I really liked Caliban. I thought he was a cool character, and then we can talk about him more in spoilers too. So yeah, let's move on to what you said. How it felt like Mad Max. It was. From the trailers, I thought it was going to be post-apocalyptic.
It felt very post-apocalyptic and westerny without being post-apocalyptic and western.
Yeah,
right.
Well, without having the setting part of it.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I thought was cool is it kind of obviously they watched a western. They watched Shane in the movie, so it's very obviously like based on the tone of westerns, and it took place all throughout like the map where westerns take place. He started off in the Mexican border, and then they move up through like the farmland and the mountains to Canada. And I thought that was interesting. I loved how, Logan, you might not know this, but Wolverine's from Canada.
Okay,
the character.
I did not know that.
And we really, besides a few small scenes in the first two X-Men movies, and then that Abomination
that piece of crap
took mostly in Canada. It was all over the place. It was garbage too. It was all over the place in more than one way. But it was kind of cool to see Logan cutting people up, super gory in Canada.
Yeah, it was cool.
So let's talk about the actors. Hugh Jackman, I don't think has ever played Wolverine so good, obviously. But I've heard a lot of people say they want him to get nominated for Best Actor. It's really early in the year.
Yeah, it's really early, but
I'm sure there's gonna be, because people have already said they want to nominate James McAvoy for Split as Best Actor. And now we've got people saying we didn't want Hugh Jackman.
I've heard
as best
some people
actor,
even say Patrick Stewart
as best supporting.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of. I think that points to. I don't want to get too deep into this, but
We can save it if it's spoilers.
No. I'm just saying. I think that shows that people are sick of the type of movies that get nominated for Oscars anymore
The
or
Oscar
win.
bait movies.
Yeah. People are sick of crying, depressing.
Artificial drama.
That stimulate only the 90-year-old men that vote for Best Picture in the Academy.
Yeah.
I mean, they already wanted Deadpool. People wanted Deadpool to get nominated
Everyone
for Best Picture.
wanted
Deadpool to be
Deadpool.
nominated.
Now people want James McAvoy, who pretty much played a super villain, and now they want Logan, Hugh Jackman, and Patrick Stewart as Logan. Which I mean, look at these movies are like the X-Men movies aren't all the Dark Knight trilogy. I think this one was Marvel's Dark Knight. I mean, because the Marvel Cinematic movies, the Avengers movies are all kind of lighthearted adventure movies for the most part. And then the X-Men movies have kind of been all over the place. The first X-Men was pretty much the first big superhero movie.
It was one of them, yeah.
But then you get, and X-Men 2 is great, but then you get to X-Men 3, Origins. Some people, I personally don't care too much for First Class.
I liked it.
But then they went up with Days of Future Past. That was great. I haven't seen Apocalypse. I haven't heard too many great things. But this was, like I said at the beginning, or in the voiceover or whatever it was, whenever I said it, it seems like it stands on its own. You can watch this, but it also it takes so much inspiration, and it makes a lot of references.
To the first movie,
like someone like us would understand, but Logan doesn't need to. But then let's talk about Daphne Keane, who played Laura.
Really good.
I was worried when I saw the trailer. I was like, please don't have another Jake Lloyd saying, now this is pod racing. I was like, please don't have a child actor that doesn't know how to act, especially hot off the heels of Stranger Things.
Yeah. When now it's like you kind of expect that from child actors, because something like that has 5 of them in a show and they were all really, really good. Mm-hmm. So they kind of set the bar.
What were you going to say, Hunter?
It's just something about mute 12-year little girls. It makes it that much better.
If you can keep child actors quiet, that's what I think my sister said something, because she hasn't seen the movie, but she watched Stranger Things, and she was like, "Oh, this looks just like 11 from Stranger Things." I'm like,
exactly what I thought.
I don't know. Exactly. I mean, they've been writing this script since probably before Stranger Things was even out. In fact, I know they were, because I've seen interviews with Hugh Jackman. But
they had this one planned since the Wolverine,
right? And then, like I said, Caliban was awesome, played by Stephen Merchant. I didn't recognize who the actor was. I don't know if I've ever seen him in anything, because he was under so much cosmetic, and I didn't really look up who he was.
I'm trying to think what he was in.
And then, although Pierce, the guy with the robot hand, who was, I think, one of the Reavers in the comics, he wasn't a huge character, but he did good for the acting. He did good. He was a douchebag, and I wanted him to die. And,
yeah, exactly.
And that's all you really need, because
he was able to make his presence felt.
Right. Yeah. And in this movie, it's not like a lot of the problems people have with the Avengers movies are the villains are weak, not powered, but they just don't have a lot of characterization.
Right.
And this movie didn't need that, but you still felt like he was a force to be reckoned with. You still felt the impact of him catching,
it's like
chasing him.
It's like Batman versus Superman, where he had.
I hate my dogs.
You had Lex Luthor, who has no special abilities, and yet nobody can take him down. And then in this movie,
Jesse Eisenberg is a powerful guy, dude.
Superman.
But this was kind of. I don't want to say it yet, but we'll get into that in a second. What I was about to say, I'm not cutting you off. I promise, Hunter.
Did you finish what he was saying?
I think he was finished.
Okay.
But and then Richard E. Grant, I put on the cast list as Dr. Rice. He was probably the weakest character. He just kind of was the evil doctor guy. And that's no big deal, because like I said, it didn't need a lot of villains, because it was more about the 3 main characters, Laura, Charles, and Logan. Mm-hmm.
And I actually recognized that Dr. Rice, the guy who plays him, he was in Doctor Who. He was in The Snowman.
Good for you, dude.
Caliban, he played in The Tooth Fairy. Have you seen that?
With
The Rock.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen that. I chose not to. But let's get into our pros. I think we've kind of been singing this movie's praises, but let's sing them a little bit more. The violence. I know when Deadpool came out and made a lot of money, people were like, "Oh, I don't want to make every superhero movie rated R now just because we can." And I'm sure they're going to make a rated R Batman just because they have to do. They have to do something to make the DC movies not trash.
Yeah.
And I'm not a Marvel fanboy. I like Man of Steel a lot. And I just started to like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like, completely. But, the violence, I mean, you saw Wolverine cut dudes' throats.
Yeah. It was really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, Logan, did you expect that when you walked in to see a superhero movie? I know it's rated R, and I don't know if, like, you caught that.
I didn't really expect it to be so gory, honestly. Right. Was not expecting that.
Another one of my pros, and I don't want to say too much about it, although you find out in the first, 5 minutes, but the way they handled Professor X, I was just kind of expecting him to be like Professor X, but older. Mm-hmm. And they made him a little off his rocker. Or off his wheeler.
Nice. Good one.
I'm sorry. Any wheelchair people out there. I didn't mean it.
One of the coolest superhero characters is just like you.
Okay. Anyway. But,
there was boobs.
Yes, that's always a pro. But I think we've pretty much said everything that's great. So let's get into things that we didn't like about it.
There was only one pair of boobs.
Fair enough. But one thing I didn't like, and this is spoilery, so spoilers until I put my hands down. The Wolverine clone, I felt was kind of lazy. It looked good.
And its scenes were cool. The battle was fun.
The fight was cool. But I wish they would have just put Daken, who's Wolverine's son. But I know they had a limited time. It was already 2.5 hours. You couldn't have added another half hour. I'll put my hands down because I feel like I'm trying to fly away. And then another thing, I know we were kind of talking about it. I'm not sure if it's really a con because I thought Daphne Keane did great as Laura. Mm-hmm. But I was kind of annoyed that she didn't talk for so long. I mean, I still felt all the emotion of her character, like, from beginning to end. But I feel like if she would have started talking earlier...
Yeah, and she, for the longest time, she didn't talk. And then she started talking only in Spanish, and then by the end of the movie, she could talk perfect English. So it was kind of weird. It didn't, like, take me out of it or anything.
I couldn't tell if she was just doing it to piss off Logan.
Yeah.
I think she was doing it to get to know him. Because she knew that she could talk to Charles through...
Right. Maybe. I mean, I'm not sure. Because she had English-speaking friends.
Yeah.
And her adopted mom at the beginning...
Spoke both Spanish
she spoke, yeah.
English.
Mm-hmm.
But why don't we get into the spoiler section? Professor X dies. We're going to start right off the bat.
Yep.
I did not really care for the way they handled that scene.
It was really abrupt, and you didn't get a whole lot of time to process it, especially like when it just started happening.
I thought it was a dream. Like, I thought someone was having a dream when it happened.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, he's having another seizure or something. Yeah.
But nope.
And then
I thought the most impactful part of that is that he just walks straight past taking the girl, like, away. Mm-hmm. He just, like, barely even looks at her. He just goes right up the stairs to go and, like, see if he's dead or not.
Right.
Oh, you mean when Logan, the real Logan comes back? Yeah. And then, like...
I'm surprised the one...
I feel like she's being taken. He's just like, oh, shit. Dad. Not real dad, but bald British dad.
Right.
Yeah. You're dying. Yeah. But then... so I didn't mind him. I didn't really care that he got stabbed so abruptly because I knew it wasn't Logan because they never showed his face.
Yeah.
But the real Logan carries him down, like, puts him in the truck, and then he just kind of is like, Sunseeker. And then he just
some stupid last words.
I like that, though.
I like the last words because when you start to die, you start to lose it a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was just, he died, like, that quick. And like I knew he was gonna die. The character is like 100 years old.
I think he should have said something like "I'm sorry," like implying to all the mutants that he had killed that used to be.
Yeah, that's another thing that I'll talk about in just 1 second. The whole mutants, but one thing I was gonna say was I really liked how they handled when Logan goes, "It wasn't me. It wasn't me who killed," because he's dying. He already has like some degenerating what is it?
Degenerative brain disease, and he also said in the beginning that he can't he knows it's him, but he can't recognize him.
Right. So he sees young Logan again, and he's like, "Oh, it's Logan. Why? Why are you stabbing me?" But yeah, they implied that, and it's very heavily. It's pretty much what happened is Professor X killed all the X-Men with his Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
In the world's
which was really
brain.
heavy. Yeah, but in the comic that this is very loosely based off of, Wolverine killed all the X-Men on accident, like he was brainwashed by Mysterio. Yeah, Mysterio, Fishbowl Man. But and then obviously Logan and Laura become closer. She's his clone, so it's the same person. So you kind of have to become closer. But then we have the final battle, and Wolverine dies. And I have to say that if you didn't see this coming as an X-Men fan or as a movie fan, you're an idiot a little, because
it still broke me.
It still hurt, but
if you've seen The Notebook, this was 10 times harder.
I try not to see The Notebook.
Oh.
But
I'll just say, like, again, I didn't have any experience, but I could tell after like the first scene, I knew he was gonna die at the end, just because they like. It seemed to me right away like they were telling the story of like he's done with the world, you know. It was like his final hours, I guess. Like what was he gonna leave as his like his last mark on the world? I kind of got that message from the first scene or two. Just his interactions with the general public or whatever.
Well, one thing that makes me think is when they get to Canada or like to the border, and she's gonna cross over, and like they leave, and he's got the bottle. He's by himself. What is he gonna do? He doesn't have Charles. He doesn't have Caliban because he effing dies. He doesn't have pretty much a vehicle. He doesn't. I mean, he's dying slowly. So if he could have left. It's kind of like the Last of Us ending. He could have just left, but he goes after her, and he puts all that stuff in him, and he kills everybody and saves the day, and then he dies. And that last shot where she turns the cross into an X, I was like,
that's really good.
On paper, that could sound really corny.
But it completely worked in every way possible.
What did you think? I mean, as someone who's not really an X-Men fan.
Just about the last scene?
Yeah, when she turns the cross into an X.
As soon as like she stuck around, I was like, she's gonna do something stupid here. But she's gonna revive him. Yeah. I was like, what's gonna happen now? But I didn't really think it was that corny.
Oh, in the movie I didn't, but like on paper, we have a evil Wolverine clone fight Wolverine, and then he dies, and then we turn the cross into an X. It's gonna be so cool. Like it's gonna
understand.
It sounds kind of like something like fan fiction.
Yeah.
But it was so well executed.
You know, I feel like it would have been corny if they didn't bring up the part where like she read the X-Men comics or whatever.
That's the one.
Because then
she would have known.
Yeah, because then why would she turn it into an X? There's
Exactly.
no correlation.
And I kind of like that. I normally superhero comics aren't in superhero movies, which doesn't necessarily. It makes a lot of sense because like if you were in the universe, Batman and Superman exists. They're going to be Batman and Superman comic books. They're going to be Batman and Superman toys and comics and movies and TV shows like there were in this. So I thought that was really cool that they made it. They made the characters feel more real because they felt like they could be real because they also felt fake to the characters. If that makes any sense at all.
I know what you're
trying
trying
to
to say.
Yeah.
So let's get into our final thoughts and anything else. Does anybody else want to bring up anything?
No, I just got a final thought.
What's your final thought?
So you know how you've seen all the X-Men movies, or most of them anyway. You know how the powers worked? Like they looked kind of like really CGI, and in this one it looked more realistic.
When that girl like breathes on his arm and turns into ice and breaks
like you don't see the breath coming. No. You just see it go over his arm.
It was definitely the best looking X-Men powers.
Yeah. It looks so real. Like, I don't know. Before it just looked like kind of like CGI magic.
But this one looks CGI.
And his claws looked real. I don't know what they did for like props or if they used CGI.
Yeah, I was trying to figure it out too. The whole time.
Like his claws, like I didn't see any like straps or it looked real. And I think it kind of had to, because if this movie, like I said with the whole corniness on paper, if this movie didn't look real, it would lose a lot of its impact because it feels so gritty and it's so totally different than any other superhero movie besides maybe the Dark Knight trilogy, which is like the hyper realistic versions of it. But this took that realism, but it also kept all the fakeness. You know it's not real because you've seen all the other movies and you know that there aren't mutants in real life that have superpowers at least. But it just felt like it happened. And like it felt like when Hugh Jackman died, or Wolverine died, it felt like Hugh Jackman died because what else is Hugh Jackman in that you're going to go... Like, he's in small movies. He was in Les Mis. He was in Eddie the Eagle. And he's in stuff here and there, but he is Wolverine, just like Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark now. And just like someone else is someone else I couldn't think of in time. So, Logan, you had one more final thought, didn't you?
Yeah. So, there were a few things I had in mind. So, how long was this movie?
2.5 hours.
So, at the same time, it felt long, but it kind of felt short. So, let me try to explain. So, first of all, I didn't realize that this was about the journey instead of the bad guy, because they had Goldtooth, what's his face, come in the back seat of the car, like not too far in. So I was like, all right, they're gonna kill this guy, but that wasn't until like way later. Right. That was only like the very end of it.
Yeah.
So it felt kind of slow in the beginning because I was expecting something else.
Oh, okay.
You know,
you were expecting more of a schlocky action movie.
Yeah.
Like a superhero movie, like Captain America, Iron Man.
And when it wasn't that, I was like,
where it was
when
like
are they going to get
a Western drama,
Right.
but with superhero characters.
What else? I felt like a lot of it was disconnected. You know.
Yeah. You guys can keep talking. I'm just gonna shut this door.
All right. So like one thing what you were saying about the girl, right? How she doesn't talk and all that stuff. Like I didn't feel much of a connection to her, cause like what did she contribute? You know, in my eyes, like nothing. I felt like nothing really happened until the fight scenes.
Yeah.
That's why we're low budget.
Which we're kind of fucked up, in my opinion. I was like a little bit grossed out by the 9-year-old girl cutting people's faces.
See, I didn't care.
It was cool though. It went
cool.
to the mood.
It had balls.
Yeah.
It had big adamantium balls.
No, it had balls and it murdered all them children.
That's true.
But what I mean by being disconnected is like there's stuff that it would make sense a few scenes later when I thought about it, but at the time I was like, what? Because like one thing that comes to mind, they were talking about like he watched a video or whatever about like, oh, they weren't exposed to the real world, blah blah blah.
Right.
And so like 5 minutes later she can apparently drive a car and take him to the hospital. I was like,
I was wondering, I'm like, I know she's supposed to be like Wolverine, she's super heightened senses, but that's not being able to drive a car.
Does Wolverine have heightened senses?
Yeah, he smells things. He's pretty much.
Oh yeah, he does. You're right.
But like heightened senses apparently means you can drive a car without having training at all.
Yeah,
and like unless the Mexican lady is like, in case I die, here's how to drive.
They were
right. That's the only thing that could have made sense.
And they were in a completely different like region of the United States, and she just found a hospital.
All they needed was a scene where he goes, "How the hell do you know how to drive?"
Exactly, but they like that's what I mean by
it was like so absurd that they should have asked the question, and they didn't.
Yeah. And I felt like that kind of stuff happened multiple times.
Did we talk about how she was how the emotion was kind of a little forced at the end?
No.
I thought it was. Just because they didn't build her up enough.
I didn't think it was forced because I felt for him.
Yeah.
But when he died, I'm like, oh, that's good for him.
I felt for him. I didn't feel for her though, because she just said, "You don't care about me" 20 minutes earlier.
Right, and now it's like, oh, I do. He does care about you. It's like maybe a movie with her, directed by the same person, directed by Mangold, with the same style. I'd watch a movie with those kids, like the Neverland. They like Peter Pan.
Yeah,
but I feel like she didn't talk until 3/4 of the way down with the movie, and then another half of that quarter, she was speaking Spanish. Yeah. So she finally speaks English, and it's like, it might be a little too late now for that. Right. But I still felt it. I still thought it was definitely more emotional than most stuff, everything in the DC movies and most stuff in the Marvel movies. I mean, that had more, his death and him and their relationship saved it. Their relationship was definitely more emotionally, like, ravaging when he died than, like, Star-Lord when his mom dies of cancer at the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Spoilers for the first 30 seconds of Guardians of the Galaxy. But I think I may have said this, or it could have been the part that got cut out. So if I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry, but I felt that her and Professor X's relationship was stronger. Like, his, like, He got so excited when she came. He was like, I've been laying in this damn water tower for 10 years. Finally, another person.
Like, how did you open the door?
It's like when Hunter sees a girl for the first time. Holy shit! Hunter doesn't have a wheelchair. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I blew you so low. Yeah. Where's Appa?
I want to do it.
Where's Appa?
I want to do it.
Appa's for sexual innuendos.
No, did you, when they said that a mutant hadn't been born in, what was it,
25 years.
I was wondering why, and then all of a sudden when they got to the cornfield, then I realized because they were making corn that was poisoning them.
Was that what? Yeah.
Really?
And then let's talk about the future real quick.
Before
we finish this, I didn't even hear
that.
God. I'm probably gonna pick that up. You saw it twice though. You have the disadvantage. You have the advantage over us. But the semi trucks that drove themselves, and like the guys that own the cornfield, rewired them to try to hit the family. Mm-hmm. I thought that was cool. I'm like, that's stuff that isn't a sci-fi, and it just happens to be in this Western drama that has Wolverine and Professor X.
You didn't realize that nobody.
It had like so many. It had a perfect mixture of genres. Yeah, but it felt really unique.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you could like pick apart the things.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that whole scene where they like stayed the night and Professor X is like, this is what it's like when you're safe or something like that. I thought that was that line's memorable to me.
Yeah, and I kind of like, if you didn't think that family was gonna die, I feel like it's when Han Solo walks on the bridge
kid was gonna die.
Oh, you didn't? You thought they were like taking with him?
Turned out to be a mutant.
That could have been interesting. That actually could have been really cool. But like if he was Nightcrawler, he had Nightcrawler's DNA. He could like teleport him away or something. Because I like Nightcrawler a lot.
Nightcrawler's cool.
But I think that's all we have. Because
another thing, because
I thought that's not all we have.
Shut up. So that
I'm gonna have to kill you. Shinked.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
No, so like when the family.
Was it not sent? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, YouTube.
So you know the family was complaining about the corn? And they said that they wouldn't eat it.
Right.
Dad was like, it tastes like shit anyway. And then so I was like, maybe if they didn't eat the corn or anything like that, maybe the kid had mutant powers.
Oh, that would be cool.
That's cool.
It'd be cool if there was like a twist, like everyone's a mutant, and so they put anti-mutant stuff in the food. Like people were starting, like exponentially more and more people were becoming. Well, we're not James Mangold, so I loved the movie. I would definitely recommend it. What, on a scale from 1 to 10, what are you guys gonna give it?
10. 10 claws.
10 claws out of 10. What do you think, Logan? For someone that's not a huge movie goer and not a huge X-Men fan.
I'd give it like a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10. I think it was okay. I was not engrossed in the movie because there were so many like plot holes. I was like, how is that possible? Considering what just happened 5 minutes earlier. Right. So I couldn't get into it too much, and it's an emotional movie, so I think that hurts it. But like when you look at the plot on its surface, and even like just how they execute it scene by scene, it's okay. But I thought it was just too choppy.
So pretty much, it has the choppiness of a normal superhero movie, but it's way better than a normal superhero movie.
Yeah.
It's got all the problems a normal superhero blockbuster has, but with this style and this like tone. What about you, Alex? What's your score?
Plot holes don't really bother me in any movie. The only problem I had with it was the villains. I think they were a little
underwritten.
They just weren't in it enough. And
so what's your score?
9 out of 10. 9 out of 10.
I'm gonna give it an 8.8, a high 8, low 9. I thought it was, from the movies I've seen this year. I've seen Silence, Split, Logan, and A Cure for Wellness. It was, I think, a little bit better than Split, which I'm a big M. Night Shyamalan fan. I thought it was a little better than Split, but I think that's because it has a decade of what are you looking up?
No, I'm going to average everything out. See what the total review was.
There you go.
There we go.
That's some smart thinking.
Yeah, that's what I was. Okay, so we got a 10.
We're learning as we go, internets.
6.5, and you said it's
I had 9.
9. Plus a 9, plus an 8.8?
8.8, yeah.
8.
But I thought it was great. I would definitely recommend it.
8.5 claws.
8.5 claws on one hand.
8.5 out of 10.
On one hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
That hurt.
Try grabbing your wing with that. You gotta grab Appa. We give this movie 3 Appas out of 3. Well, we are low budget entertainment, if you couldn't tell by our low budgetness. Hunter didn't actually die. It was just me hitting the table off screen. Okay, bye!